You want to go on over to South Dakota with the clueless governor, Kristi Noem?
God, this woman loves her some Trump.
Right. Yeah, and she's about as intelligent too. She just signed into law the first anti-trans bill of 2022. And she gets an interesting question from the crowd about it.
Okay.
There's a statistic circulating around right now that 90% of South Dakota's LGBTQ community is diagnosed with either anxiety or depression. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. That makes me sad, and we should figure it out.
And that's it.
I love how nobody in the room says anything, and that's it. That's it. I have no idea. Maybe it's because we ostracize them from the community and treat them like they're like inherently bad or wrong or evil or not normal. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's how you treat them. Ever considered that?
Yeah. So let's see. South Dakota hold on. Trans bill. Let's see what this bill is. Let's see. The HRC reported on this. It's the first anti-trans bill. Let's see.
In 2022.
In 2022. Let's see. 46 passed out of the state senate. SB 46 is what it was. Let's see. These bills don't protect or empower girls and women. Rather, they perpetuate sexist stereotypes. I wonder if I can get the actual.
The bill's probably pretty long. I mean, I don't know what it does either, but I'm sure that it makes life incredibly more difficult on trans youth, who we should be protecting and not continuing to harm.
Oh, it's about trans athletes. So it says in section 1, the new section to be added to their, to be amended. Any interscholastic, intercollegiate, intramural, or club athletic team, sport, or athletic event that is sponsored or sanctioned by an accredited school, school district, and activities, blah, 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 of higher education under the control of either the Board of Regents, Board of Technical Education, must be designated as one of the following based on the biological sex at birth of the participating athletes. Females, women, or girls, males, men, or boys, or co-educational or mixed. Only female athletes based on their biological sex may participate in any team sport or athletic event designated as being for females, women, or girls. For purposes of this section, biological sex is either female or male as described by the sex listed on the athlete's official birth certificate.
Oh, so it only, okay. So girls, biological girls can participate in biological boys sports.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't say they couldn't do that.
Right.
So trans boys could participate in boys sports?
I don't know. I mean, they specifically hit hard on female athletes, but I think it would be covered underneath the 3 sections because it says they must be designated as one of the following based on the biological sex at birth of the participating athletes. So it applies to everybody, but it just extra applies for the girls.
For trans girls.
Because they're afraid that trans girls are going to, like, I guess,
take over women's sports.
Either take over women's sports or be somehow a danger to non-trans girls.
This is nothing that is backed by any kind of like real information, like the takeover of women's sports or girls' sports. Teaching our kids this kind of segregation is just unhealthy. Teaching our kids that, to dismiss people and who they are and force them into a box that makes you comfortable it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And it is why 90% of LGBTQ youth in South Dakota are diagnosed with anxiety or depression. That's why. This kind of shit is why. And it's not okay. I don't know exactly what the right answer is for sport. I think that trans athletes should be allowed to participate in sports, in the sports with which they identify. I do recognize that in some cases there could be, because of that, there could be, depending on the situation, it could take out the level playing field, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are female athletes, women, we'll use women and men for the case, so we're not like, I don't like to mix up the use of gender and sex. So female would be, for my regards, so y'all know what I'm talking about. Male, female would be biological sex. Men, women would, or girls, boys would be gender, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are women and girl athletes who are far superior to men and boys athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There just are. There are men and boys who are superior to women and girls in some things. But I think if you're going to have athletics in which that might, having a biological male competing with biological females in something that it would make it not a level playing field,
Mm-hmm.
where they would have an advantage always, or often, most often, and make it unfair, then how we break up who plays what sports should change based on maybe skill or capability instead of based on sex or gender at all. And so maybe you have leagues where, and each sport would have to be different, right? Where, because some things don't matter, like for some sports, like how much you weigh wouldn't really matter for track, but it would matter for wrestling.
Right.
And so you'd have to go sport by sport and figure out what are the criteria that really matter here. What would level this playing field to where all athletes of this skill level would be in this league and athletes of this skill level would be in this league. And so you could break it up where gender or sex don't matter at all. You put people of the same skill level in a competing group.
Mm-hmm.
I know that is drastically different from how we do things now. And it would certainly take a period of transition to that. And it would be weird for some people for a little bit, but then you'd get used to the new way. But I mean, we can't keep further harming marginalized groups like this and then expecting them to be okay.
Right. The rest of the bill that was passed and signed into law just essentially protects the school, the employees, and the state from being sued by anybody for discrimination against trans students.
You want to be able to take over the government with nukes, but you don't want to be sued.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, like Marjorie Taylor Greene was also concerned about having the liberals force them into doing something. And it's like, you guys are always passing laws that are forcing people to do things they don't want to do.
Yep.
And like, this is
to not participate at all.
Right.
Like,
but you know what's crazy? Okay, so this is what always gets me about the trans, like whenever Republicans, pass or have some anti-trans sentiment, every single time, and this is no exception, every single time, it's like they only create the situation that they're trying to stop.
Yeah.
Because this bill right here is only going to create the situation that they don't want to happen.
Yeah.
Because what's going to end up happening in South Dakota trans people in South Dakota are not going to be able to compete in the, I guess, section of sports, the division of sports that they want to, that they identify with.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to have trans boys competing with girls. You're going to have
girls sports, yes.
trans women competing with men.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're creating the exact situation that they're so afraid of.
That doesn't even exist right now.
Right.
I guess it's just beyond me. It's like, it's the same thing they're creating, like the bathroom bills. They were creating the problems with the bathroom bills.
Mm-hmm.
Because could you imagine, what's the porn star, the guy porn star, bald, Buck Angel.
Buck Angel.
Could you imagine Buck Angel walking into a women's restroom? Like, that's what they wanted to create, is Buck Angel walking into a women's restroom.
Exactly. And that's what they're going to have. Like, for people that were pushing those kinds of bills, I don't know if there's any bills like that up for it, but I mean, that's exactly what they want. Like, they would want Buck Angel to be competing with women.
Or like a little closer to home, people we know, like Arden or Katie.
Yeah.
Walking into men's restrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you create that situation?
It's
completely unnecessary. Like, I don't understand.
And for trans women, that's a much more dangerous situation.
That is a very dangerous situation. You'll have police called for people like Buck Angel walking into a women's restroom, and it creates a dangerous situation for trans women walking into a men's restroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Why is that necessary? Why do you need to create this situation? Just let people go to the fucking bathroom. Just let people. And I know the bathroom thing is slightly different because it's not like a fair playing field kind of thing,
right,
like with competitive sports, but it like John was talking about, it creates this situation that is a problem where you didn't have a problem before.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the kids don't have problems.
Right.
These are parent problems.
They are. Like, I mean, to be quite honest, to like play a sport, I really don't think you have to have a dick measuring contest. I mean, the sport itself is kind of a measuring contest, but like, I really don't think that you should have to drop your pants and show what kind of genitals exist between your legs in order to play a sport with a certain set of people. Like, I feel like that's ridiculous.
Well, you shouldn't. And like, I don't know. It's just, it's frustrating and it's upsetting. And the fact that she can't connect the dots for why it is that these like LGBTQ youth are damaged. I mean, look at your actions and what you're doing to them.
Mm-hmm.
Mirrors. Clearly, she looks in a lot of mirrors if you look at her. Mirrors is obviously something she's familiar with.
Yeah.
So.